Deep in the waters of Loch Ness, Scotland, the Loch Ness Monster had waited, a creature massive and elusive living in the depths. Descriptions had varied: a long neck, a hump, a shadow in the mist. For centuries, tales of Nessie had been passed down. Some believed it was a prehistoric survivor, a relic from the age of dinosaurs, but no one had ever found proof. No body, no definitive photograph. Sightings had come and gone, leaving behind only questions. Was Nessie real, or just a product of folklore? The mystery had remained unsolved, and Loch Ness had kept its secret, as it always had. In the quiet of the loch, the waters remained calm. The legend had endured for centuries, hidden beneath the surface, slipping through the cracks of reason. In the 1930s, the famous surgeon's photo had made headlines worldwide. It had shown a long neck rising from the dark waters. Though later debunked as a hoax, it had sparked a craze. The world had been captivated, and the Loch Ness Monster had become a symbol of ancient mystery. But over time, no clear evidence had ever emerged. The sightings had continued, but they had always left more questions than answers. Was it a giant eel, a shadow in the water, a hoax to attract tourists? Or was there something more, hidden deep in the loch? Whatever the truth, Loch Ness had kept its secret, and the legend had lived on. The world had continued. In the forests of North America, Bigfoot had roamed, a giant figure covered in thick fur, standing up to 10 feet tall. Bigfoot had been seen in the forests of the Pacific Northwest. His footprints had been found, large, wide, and unmistakable. Some had believed Bigfoot was an ancient ape, a creature that had escaped the notice of science. Others had thought him a myth, a figure born from imagination. Blurry photos, shaky videos, and eyewitness accounts had come and gone. But despite all the evidence, no one had ever captured him. Bigfoot had remained a shadow, a creature of legend, haunting the wilds of the forests just beyond human reach. Perhaps Bigfoot was a creature so elusive that it had adapted to hide from the eyes of humankind. He had roamed the woods, forever just out of sight, leaving only the faintest traces behind. Bigfoot had moved like a shadow in the night, existing in the gaps between truth and fantasy. Some believed he was out there, waiting to be discovered. Others had dismissed him entirely, but still, the legend lived on. Far from the quiet waters of Loch Ness and the dark forests of North America, another legend had thrived in Africa's Congo River basin, Mokele Mbembe. Described as a massive, herbivorous creature with a long neck and tail, Mokele Mbembe had been said to resemble a sauropod dinosaur, lost to time. The creature had been a part of local folklore for centuries. Tribes had told stories of the beast that lived in the rivers and swamps, hidden in the dense jungle. Some had speculated that it was a living dinosaur, an ancient relic from a time long past. Others had dismissed it as a misidentified animal, a creation of overactive imaginations. Mokele Mbembe's presence had always been surrounded by mystery. No one had ever captured it. No one had ever brought back any solid proof. Explorers had ventured into the jungle, hoping to find evidence. They had searched the thick forest, pushing deeper and deeper into the Congo, but the creature had never been found. Some had believed it was a surviving dinosaur, a living fossil, hidden away in the darkest corners of the world. Others had argued it was simply an exaggerated myth, the result of stories passed down through generations. Beneath the waves, in the vast, dark ocean, something had stirred. The Kraken, a giant sea creature with tentacles long enough to drag ships into the depths. The Kraken had been a terror to sailors, a myth born from the deep. Legends spoke of its monstrous size, of its ability to sink ships with a single swipe of its limbs. Some had said it was a giant squid, a deep-sea creature so large that it seemed almost otherworldly. Others had believed it was a creature of unimaginable power, a force of nature that could swallow entire vessels. The Kraken had been feared for centuries, yet no one had ever truly seen it. Sailors had spoken of the Kraken in hushed voices, warning of the dangers beneath the waves. The creature had been said to create whirlpools, dragging ships and sailors into the deep where they would never be seen again. It had been a monster of the imagination, a symbol of the unknown. The Kraken had represented the ocean's power, a reminder that the deep sea was still a place of mystery and terror. High above, in the sky, dragons had once soared, From the fiery mountains of the west to the misty waters of the east, dragons had been a part of every culture, every legend. In Europe, they had been fearsome creatures, breathing fire and hoarding treasure in dark caves. They had been symbols of chaos and destruction, the ultimate challenge for any hero. In the East, they had been revered as powerful and wise, creatures of good fortune, able to control the elements and bring prosperity. Despite their differences, dragons had shared one thing in common. They had been feared and admired. Some had believed dragons were based on real creatures, like crocodiles or giant lizards. Others had thought they were purely mythical, born from the human desire to understand the natural world. The dragon had lived on in stories. In the West, it had been a beast to be slain. In the East, a guardian of wisdom. They had been creatures of fire, of air, of water, of earth. The dragons had represented the forces of nature, and in every culture, they had embodied power and mystery. But had dragons ever truly existed? Or had they simply been born from human imagination, fueled by the desire to understand the unknown? In the shadow of the night, a creature of legend haunts the Americas. The chupacabra, its name, meaning goat-sucker in Spanish, has become synonymous with terror. Descriptions vary, but it's typically said to be a reptilian creature with spines running down its back, or sometimes a wild dog with exaggerated features. It has one purpose: to drain the blood of livestock. Goats, chickens, and other animals have been found dead, their bodies drained of blood with puncture wounds on their necks. The chupacabra's legend began in the mid-1990s in Puerto Rico, where a series of mysterious livestock deaths raised suspicion. The creature's presence spread throughout Latin America and into the southern United States, with more sightings and reports of attacks. Farmers and ranchers speak of an elusive creature that moves silently through the night, its eyes glowing red as it hunts. Under the moon's cold gaze, a predator stalks the land, silent, deadly, always waiting. Despite various theories, from alien creatures to mutated animals, the chupacabra remains a mystery. Some believe it's a wild dog suffering from mange, its appearance distorted by the disease. Others hold fast to the idea that it's a supernatural being, a predator from the unknown. But whatever it is, the fear it instills is very real, and its legend continues to haunt those who live on the fringes of the wild. At the highest, most treacherous peaks of the Himalayas, where the world is cold and harsh, the Yeti roams. Known also as the abominable snowman, this ape-like creature has become a symbol of the mysteries that lurk in the remote corners of the earth. With its large humanoid form covered in thick white fur, the Yeti is said to thrive in the freezing cold, where few dare to travel. The first modern reports of the Yeti began in the early 20th century, when explorers in the Himalayas spoke of giant footprints in the snow, unlike any known animal. But long before that, the local people of Nepal and Tibet had spoken of the creature, calling it the Metokangmi, meaning man-bear. Beneath the eternal snow, a giant steps silently, unseen by those below. Scientists have searched for years, but no concrete evidence has ever been found to confirm the Yeti's existence. Some claim that the Yeti is simply a bear or a human, misidentified in the harsh conditions of the mountains. Yet, the idea of an elusive creature, larger and stronger than anything else in its domain, still fascinates the world. In the dense, eerie woods of New Jersey's Pine Barrens, a creature has haunted the region for centuries. With the body of a kangaroo, the head of a goat, and bat-like wings, the Jersey Devil is one of the most terrifying creatures of American folklore. It is said to have been born in the early 18th century, the result of a curse that was cast upon the area. The creature's screech is said to echo through the woods. Eyewitnesses have described seeing the Jersey Devil darting through the trees, its red eyes glowing in the darkness. Over the years, reports of strange noises, missing livestock, and unexplained sightings have kept the legend alive. In the dark of night, when the woods fall silent, a creature stirs, wild and untamed. While many dismiss it as an elaborate hoax or the product of overactive imaginations, the Jersey Devil remains a key part of New Jersey's folklore. Locals still report sightings, and its haunting screech continues to terrify anyone brave enough to enter the Pine Barrens after dark. The legend, it seems, refuses to fade away. High in the sky, where the clouds meet the wind, the thunderbird soars. This giant bird, a symbol of power and strength in Native American culture, is said to have wings so vast they create thunder as it flies. Some stories claim its wings span up to 20 feet, with feathers as large as a man's arm. Its mighty presence is said to be a force of nature, controlling the weather, bringing storms and rain with the flap of its wings. The thunderbird, often portrayed as a protector, a spiritual being that brings balance to the world. It appears in the mythologies of various Native American tribes, particularly in the Northwest and Great Lakes regions. For the Ojibwa and other tribes, the thunderbirds are a symbol of strength, courage, and the natural forces. With a flap of its wings, the sky trembles, a mighty force, unseen yet felt. Though no modern sightings of such a massive bird have ever been confirmed, the legend of the thunderbird continues to resonate. Some claim that it may have been inspired by the now extinct Haast's eagle, a bird with a wingspan of over 10 feet. Others believe the thunderbird exists still, flying high above the mountains, invisible to all but those who believe. In the swamps, rivers, and lakes of Australia, a creature known as the bunyip has haunted the land for generations. Descriptions of the bunyip vary. Some say it has the body of a giant dog with a terrifying roar, while others describe it as a crocodile-like creature with a long, muscular neck. The creature is said to dwell in water, lurking in the shadows of the outback, waiting for its next victim. The legend of the bunyip dates back to the early 19th century, when European settlers first heard stories from the Aboriginal people. The creature was said to be dangerous, capable of attacking and dragging people into the water. Some believed it was a spiritual being. Others thought it was simply a wild animal that had been exaggerated into myth. The water ripples, the earth trembles. A roar echoes across the quiet swamps. Though no concrete evidence has been found, the legend of the bunyip endures in Australian folklore. It is a reminder of the unknown dangers lurking in the wild, in the places where civilization ends and the untamed earth begins. Curious about more legendary beasts and their tales? Keep exploring with us and subscribe for the next deep dive into myths and monsters.